right, so we wanted to do our own version of the awards show. Drew came up with some categories that I thought were pretty good and unique to the Level 30 gamer, someone who, well, probably plays a lot of stuff, doesn't necessarily finish all the stuff. Starting with the most traditional, we'll get that one out of the way first, I suppose. RPG of the year. And Joe, you're going to go last in every category because you didn't contribute to the rundown. But that's okay. It's kind of your thing now, you know?
But you said you bank on me not looking at the rundown.
To a degree. To a degree. I don't have any awards music, so I'm just going to play the Mario Kart music in the background for a little bit here.
Drew has some awards music.
Oh, he does. But, well, I guess we're breaking copyright law altogether. Drew, your RPG of the year.
We talked about Final Fantasy 16.
Which I'm a little surprised that it won out over Super Mario RPG.
So, Tom can attest to this, Joe. I bought Super Mario RPG day one and texted him an hour later and was like, I'm 1/7 done the game. I texted him 2 hours later, I got the 2nd star. 3 hours later, I got the 3rd star. 4 hours later, I got the 4th star. I think the 5th star took a little longer, took like a couple hours because I was like doing side quests, but I could have easily beaten the game in like 7 hours if I had just blazed through it.
Oh my god.
I know. And then by the weekend I was done.
Yeah.
It took me 12 hours to beat it.
I think I was right around the same.
Which
is great.
Not a very difficult game.
What?
No,
Not a very difficult game.
No, it's not.
It's not.
But it's fun the entire time. Okay. That's what's great about it.
It has a personality to it that I don't...
Somehow they kept that personality going from like the 3D sprites to these actual 3D polygons. I don't know what you want to call them.
Triangles.
Triangles.
Yeah, my favorite parts of that game are when they like pantomime the story to other people, and it's just Mario kind of running around doing stuff. Like all their reactions are really great. And we spent more time talking about this than actually your RPG of the year, Final Fantasy 16,
That's
which,
fine.
like I said, is really good. My choice was Octopath Traveler 2. Talked about it at the start of the show. Put some time into that. It's great. Characters are great. Music's great. World is great. It's beautiful. And you really grow to care for these characters and how their stories intertwine in an interesting way. Our next award goes out to the most overlooked Wait, what?
Did he have an RPG?
Did you have an RPG, Joe? I just presumed you didn't, so I moved on. Okay.
No, my RPG of the year is real life.
Yeah.
Just been playing myself this whole time.
That's right. Me too. And I am under-leveled despite how much I've been grinding. Next award goes to the most overlooked or undervalued game of the year. Drew.
I just needed something. I'm a big fan of side-scrolling platformers, and Blasphemous 2 came out, and I bought it day one and played it to death for like 2 weeks. I still haven't beaten it because there's a boss I'm stuck on, but I just love going back to like the Castlevanias and the side-scrolling Metroids that they improved a lot from the first one. The first one was definitely tougher. But overall it was very enjoyable. Like the nostalgia of their world is very interesting and the way they draw things. So Blasphemous 2 is overlooked in my opinion.
Okay, I'm going with Star Ocean, Second Story R. The remake is very, very good. The story is great. The characters are interesting. It's kind of the same thing I said for Octopath. The battle system is real-time, but there's just so much happening that it's just a lot of stuff to have to pay attention to. And some of the mechanics behind the scenes, as far as leveling up certain attributes or developing certain skills, is really, really cool and involved, like almost overwhelmingly so. But they go about it in a way where you start to pick up how it makes sense. And it is really cool to kind of stat your characters in a play style that works for you. And there are, I think, a dozen, maybe 20 different characters you can recruit into your party, but there's a limit. So you can only, you have to make decisions on, I met 2 people, but I can only take one of them, and that might change the story path a little bit. So I think that's a really cool aspect of it. Yeah, check that one out. I think that's going to end up being one that not hit cult status, but I think that's going to be a game that might be hard to find down the road if you're a collector, but it's really worth playing. It's great.
Most of the Star Oceans are that way.
Yeah, I picked up one on the PS5. It's in cellophane.
Did you have an overvalued?
Again, I presumed he didn't. I cued the music too early.
Over, under?
I don't know. Probably The same as my RPG one.
Life. It's overvalued. All right, our next award for Time Sync Game of the Year, which is, hey, what did you play a lot of this year? I can actually have Joe start this one.
Super obvious. It's just Zelda.
All right.
Just put way too many hours into Zelda. I also, while I was on vacation, basically marathoned Firewatch.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Just straight through the game because I didn't want to be on vacation. It was good.
Cool.
Not what I expected.
All right. Drew?
I was going to put down what he had, but I put equally as many hours on Diablo 4. The multiplayer aspect. Like, I have a few friends, and we're all on that Blizzard account where you can, like, see when they're playing or when they enter the realm.
Oh, right.
So, like, it's like, just jump on when you can.
Cool. Yeah, I put Persona 5 Royal as a game I've talked about a lot because it's amazing, and I didn't even get to all the good stuff because I didn't know that at some point you had to level up a certain character, and I was 70 hours in, and that was that. So it's a shame. But so if you play it, look that up first because it's probably a really helpful thing to know. All right, the next award is, I don't even have one. This was a Drew solo shot. The best game that nobody's heard of. Go ahead,
Just
Drew.
got a vibe.
Yeah.
So I have quite a few, but I just wanted the one that I've been playing for quite a while, and they remaked. It's called Risk of Rain, and the original one is a 2D side scroller that you could jump in with other friends. It's random when it comes to the weapons and some of the bosses, and your goal is to like cycle through the entire thing. And at some point, you go to like this ship with the villain that's called the Providence, and when you beat him, like, you can either loop through again or you can just end it. And
Oh, kind of like that game that we played. The something Ditto.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can keep going, and it gets harder and harder.
Right.
But it's I don't know, it's like very pixelated, like platformer, and it's super enjoyable.
Cool. All right, I like that concept. That's really good.
The second one's like a completely different
Great
looking game.
Yeah,
right?
it's a 3D one. Yeah.
Okay,
So they
but
went
it's
from
like a roguelike, right?
Yep. Yeah. They did the same thing. So they took the model from the side scroller and made it 3D.
Okay.
And then the world is somewhat generated, like item placement and enemies that spawn. And the problem with the 3D version is there's so much hidden that I don't know how many hours you would have to play in order to see it all.
Gotcha.
And they keep putting out more and more DLC to it too.
Yeah, I've heard that's been one where they're just constantly putting stuff out for, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, our next award. This song's going to get old really quickly.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's great. This is the best backlog game of the year. This was a game that's maybe been on the shelf for a really long time, and you decided at some point in 2023 to say, you know what? I know this game's old, but now's the time. I got to get into this. I'm going to give Joe a time to think, because maybe he actually has something here.
You go first.
I got to go first? Okay, so my backlog game of the year this year was Tunic. I played the game when it first came out, but I didn't give it the time that it really deserved. And I found myself being a little frustrated with some of its obtuseness. I powered through, and that game got really good really quickly. And some of those boss battles, old school, you know, when you like played a NES game for so long that you get like a little bruised blister on your thumb for just like smearing the D-pad. Like that was me during these boss battles. And they were like just on that cusp of this is very difficult, but also manageable. I can do this. And even though I died hundreds of times, you just kept going back. And soundtrack was amazing.
Right?
What's that?
The soundtrack's awesome. But then it just ends, right?
Yeah.
Just you don't even realize you're at the final boss.
And then you realize you're at the final boss, but it does kind of have this like and game over, and you're like, oh, okay. But between the map and the page, like it was just really, really awesome.
When you called it obtuse, did you play Fez?
Forever ago, yeah.
Those puzzles were obtuse, and that's the way I felt like Tunic, because I picked it up too, and I enjoyed Tunic like crazy.
Yeah.
I wanted it for the longest time, but it was again waiting for like a discount on it because I knew it wasn't very long, and that's what people were harping on. But otherwise, like you said, everything about it was so good.
Yeah, big Zelda inspiration, obviously.
Also took forever to come out though. Like after it was
Yes.
announced. I just remember like joining their Discord channel and like constantly checking when this game was coming out and be like, it's coming soon. We're doing it. And then we finally got there.
Yeah.
But it did take its time.
If you liked Tunic, another one to add to your backlog, Death's Door.
Oh yeah,
I just scrolled back. I'm looking at like my backlog on Steam and I just scrolled past that.
Yeah,
I started it.
The game was great.
Yeah, I
got
did
sucked
a
in.
couple doors and then just kind of put it aside and said, okay, I thought it'd be greater than this.
So then I guess I'll go while Joe still has time to decide. I've picked up Eastward. I wanted this game to be something it wasn't originally. Like, everyone was raving about, like, and you can do this with any game, but, like, this is going to be the next Earthbound.
Yep.
Yeah, this is going to be the next Contact. Whatever game comes out, and then they're like, and your hype there is for that. But apparently last year, it got a patch where the fast travel wasn't working, and you could fast forward slightly through dialogue, which was nice because, like, again,
talk a lot.
Yeah, they do talk a lot, and that was my frustration. Like 2 years ago when I was playing it, I was at a point where it was easily a half hour to an hour of dialogue that I had to like sit through.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was just like, I can't do this. And then when I re-downloaded it, I was like, oh, this is weird. I'm like holding the R button, and you see the font going much quicker, and I just continued to pick it up, and I finally beat it. And I will say, like, again, I'm a big fan of nostalgia. Like, it brought back old games, and the story was fun. Another silent character, as always. But very, like, Undertale-esque. If
Okay.
anyone's ever played Undertale.
Yeah.
Like, and it was enjoyable.
Yeah, this is one on my shelf that after you going through this year, I'm now encouraged to. And they have DLC coming, like story DLC, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind
I
of
think
cool.
it's in January.
All right, so soon.
Oh,
even.
no, it's so it's funny because this DLC is going to be Eastward, aka Stardew Valley 2.
Oh, that's what it was.
It's
Okay.
like, yeah, what was it? Harvest Moon.
Right.
Like, that's what it's a
Farming sim.
farming sim.
Right. Joe, did you find a backlog game this year that you enjoyed?
Funnily enough, I think I'm gonna reuse Firewatch because it was in my backlog for a while, and it, again, not what I expected, and it very
Yeah.
much took me by surprise. I didn't think it was gonna be like strictly like narrative driven. I thought there would be more like action and actual gameplay.
Lots of fires to put out?
Yeah, I thought that was coming, but there wasn't. Just the fire of your heart.
Oh.
It was no, it's like I said, it was a surprise, but the game really makes you care about like the characters and your relationship with, I care about her, but I don't remember her name because it's her name and I don't remember it. But they do make you care about the other characters and the story about what happened. And it was super interesting. And I played through it on my Steam Deck, and it was pretty perfect for that.
Cool. Yeah, I have it on the Switch. It's been waiting to go for a while. How long was that game? Was it a long one or a short one?
It's pretty short.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that might be we have a snow day? All right, this will be my afternoon.
Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. Our next award. Yes. This is the best game you didn't finish, and these are all games we mentioned before, so I'm just going to be quick and say Final Fantasy 16.
And I'll be quick and say Sea of Stars.
And Joe will be quick and say
All of them.
all the games.
Yep, all of them. I did just start, not just start, I did not finish Seasons After Fall, which is like an indie platforming side-scroller. It's a lot of fun, but I also, like, can't get into it for more than, like, half an hour at a time or so. So I think it'll be a little bit before I can finish it.
All right. Now it's time for the big one. Game of the year.
Clean sweep.
I would presume a clean sweep here. We all played a bunch of different stuff. Who wants to be the one to say it, I guess?
I'll do it. Madden.
Yes! Madden 24. Congratulations to Level 30 Games. Game of the year.
Can you imagine if we talked about Zelda for, 4 or 5 straight episodes and then didn't call it Game of the Year?
Well, listen, there's always the opportunity that something could come along and usurp that. And Baldur's Gate was kind of that thing for the industry, right? They're like, oh, this is the contention. So when it won at the Game Awards, I was like, okay. And not that it really matters at all, right? Like, it doesn't matter who wins an award. You played the game, you love the game. That's all that really matters. And it's not like Nintendo needs the recognition. When IGN came out and said, Tears of the Kingdom is our Game of the Year, I was actually more excited for that, but mainly because there's a lot of journalists at that site that I actually genuinely enjoy and value their input, and so like to see that is kind of cool too. So yeah, I'm happy to throw my hat on that totem and say Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, my Game of the Year. Drew?
The day before. I just wanted to
Yes,
slug the
you're
worst,
right.
worst game of the year out there.
The Game of the Year, the days before. The game that they recalled and the company went under and gave everyone their money back. Yes.
I had to break up the monotony of the clean sweep.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And we probably could spend another half an hour talking about this, and I kind of wish we could.
We won't. I'm seconding your vote.
No, I would like to. I would like to say, hey, let's spend a bunch of time with it, because we did talk about it for so many episodes, and god damn it, that game does so many things right.
It just does so many things. Whether they're right or wrong, it just does so many things.
Well, yeah, but
so
it does
much
so
going on in
few
that game.
things wrong that it just by default does everything right. Like, there's a few quirky things in there that you're like, okay, I've played this game for 150 hours. Why am I still getting buttons confused? Because it's not, the controls, I mean, they're intuitive, but they're also not at the same time. So,
Yeah.
like, there's something there that'd be really great.
I also mix up the shoulder buttons.
Mix up the shoulder buttons, right? I fuse something and I'm like, I didn't actually want to fuse that diamond to an apple, but here we are. Or like, who's the big Goron dude? I forget his name.
Bigger on.
Like Rotundo or something like that. I don't know.
No, oh crap, I can't think of his name. He was so annoying.
Yeah, he was
Yunobo.
Yunobo, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the jock bro of the group. But anytime I'm like, Yunobo, I need to break these rocks, and he would like run away. I'm like, no, dude, come here. Like, all right, yeah, there's technical quirks.
Now talk about like things you learn hours afterwards. When I got the Gerudo woman, I can't think of her. Rita? No, what was her name?
I don't know.
But you could use her ability to break rocks too.
Yep.
You can use lightning to break rocks?
Yeah, it was great.
Ah.
When I learned that, I was
I
just
didn't know
like,
that.
you're already 100 hours in, and you're like,
Yeah.
holy crap.
I did it a couple times though, and was like, "This is awesome. This costs an arrow every time I do it."
I mean, at some point, you just farm them.
Yeah.
True.
I do like her power the best though.
I
Also, she's not a woman. She's like 13,
That's true. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
okay,
a
that's
child.
despite having like a 12 pack.
Yeah.
Just
I think
so
that's just that they're...
Yeah.
That race is just very focused on abs.
Mm-hmm.
The big
Oh.
ab workout.
Talk about her power. Like, if you're exploring in the depths and you have her, and you haven't gotten a light route, you just spam her as the aura is going out. It shows you everything that's around you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's probably pretty helpful.
Breath of the Wild, I did that a lot with one of the powers, the magnetic one, because you could it would make things a little bit brighter if
Yeah.
you couldn't see in an area, like just enough to make your eyes a little bit more comfortable. So yeah, not surprised that works in the depths too.
Yeah, I think I did that a few times with the hand where everything kind of turns orange. I'm like, oh, I can see in dark areas now a
Yeah.
little bit better. Yes, I have had, and we can go on forever. I've been fairly vocal on the channel and in past episodes about how I was a little disappointed in Breath of the Wild and how the hype that everyone gave it, I was like, maybe this isn't a game for me then. I truly believe that Tears of the Kingdom is, I don't think I can go back and play Breath of the Wild now. I think this game does everything better. The story was fantastic. The ending is amongst one of the most beautiful endings in
Oh
a
my
video
God.
game ever. And I know we're not going to get this world again. I don't know what Zelda is going to look like moving forward, but I think this might have vaulted to the top of my favorite games of all time list.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. Usurping A Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past.
Blasphemy.
I know. I know. And thank you, Drew, for changing everyone's game of the year in the rundown to the day before. So,
He just wanted the truth there for posterity.
okay, that's fine. That's true, because after we're done this episode, this doc will never be touched again. So, someone will find it.
No one will know what that game is.
No, it's true, because doesn't exist anymore. You're right. Oh,
Google's
man.
AI will know what it is when it scans that file for training.
Oh, great. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So just congrats to The Legend of Zelda for having the most amazing game of all time, in my opinion. But our panel's decision on Game of the Year, rightfully earned. So after the Game Awards, I don't want to talk about it. Nothing really happened. Some notable announcements, but nothing even worth spending a lick of time on at all.
Wait.
Crazy Taxi's coming back. The end. Moving on.
Yeah, the Sega thing was great.
That was, it was 90
I'm not
seconds.
even a Sega fan.
No, either am I. But bring it on.
Can we talk about the man who got a lifetime ban?
No. I mean, wait, yes, we can. What happened, huh?
Some guy got on stage when they were
Again?
presenting an award and just like stood there because he was such a fanboy of whoever it was that they
2 years in a row, huh?
Yeah.
You think they would have locked that down?
And then the second thing I
This
want to
won't
talk about
happen again.
is Jordan Peele.
And
I don't-
Kojima?
I don't
coming
know what's
together?
going on, but my mind is exploding at every second that I cannot wait for whatever it is, as long as it's not Death Stranding 2.
Well, you're going to have to wait for the Death Stranding movie to come out, and
I don't have to wait for that.
I'll see it.
Won't make me do it.
You're going to see it too, Drew. I'll make you do it.
That's fine.
All
I mean,
right.
I'm fine with the movie. The game was
I played for an hour, and
it was exhausting.
I want the hour back.
Yes.
Yeah. Well.
That's a huge disappointment to hear, considering the initial trailers were so awesome, and then we got close to the game's release, and he was like, "So the main point of the game is not action." We're like, "What?"
No, it's literally
We're doing
like
what
here's
now?
here's a butt ton of story, and then you walk for like 40 hours, and then here's more story, and then roll credits.
I can't figure out how like Norman Reedus was like, "This is awesome. I love to be a part of this."
Because he got paid, and that's what actors do.
Yeah,
They want to get paid
fair.
again, so they promote their work. All right, so one last question for you before we get into our very, very
Yes.
quick game that does not involve audio out of the industry next year. What are you looking for from your game publishers, from representation to sequels to stuff that are moonshots, new hardware? What do you think next year is going to hold for us?
I'm gonna be the one who says it. Wind Waker HD.
Oh my God, there's so much HD. Too much HD.
I want Wind Waker in 4K.
Oh, I don't think we're getting any Nintendo games in 4K. I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't even think the Switch 2 will have the possibility?
I don't think it will. I think they're going to keep the same form factor, and I think it's going to have more power. But, like, how many PS5 games do you play in 4K?
I mean,
Or do you shift to performance mode so you can get 60 frames a second? Because that's what I do more often than not.
I think there's gonna be a like home only version of the Switch though.
So you think we're going to get 2 hardware releases from Nintendo?
I don't know how it's gonna happen because I don't work for Nintendo, and you know if I knew, I'd be making more money. But in general, I think like they did like the portable only version, but there are people like me who basically never remove it from the dock, and I think they might be interested in catering to them, either whether it be for performance reasons because you can get better performance out of it, or to save money, whatever it may be. But I can see a like home console only version of whatever the sequel to the Switch is. I can see that happening.
Switch has been out for how many years now?
It came out in March of 2017.
Oh my god!
So we're approaching 6 full years on the market?
Don't-
7 full years on the market?
Don't talk to me like that.
So the,
Okay.
the first 5 years, it was a home console for me.
Oh, yeah.
And then this past year, I took it everywhere.
I because I got the OLED, I think that's the only reason why I've actually been encouraged to use it more handheld. But also at
Maybe
the
that was it.
start of the football season, I love putting a game on TV and laying on the couch with the Switch, playing something at the same time. Because if it's not a game that's it's not my team, but I want to watch football, it's there and I can kind of half pay attention, and that's really nice. So
Does it make more sense in that case to put the Switch on the TV and like put a football game in your laptop, since you care about that less?
shut up, Joe. There are technical
I guess it
limitations
could
at
go
play here.
either way. I don't know what I'm excited for. Normally, I know what's coming out, and I feel like I don't know what's coming out.
And that's what I'm excited for.
Oh,
The
all
mystery.
right.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, especially in the Nintendo realm where we're in that ballpark legitimately this time of, hey, maybe new hardware. I think Sony and Microsoft are going to steer the course. I don't actually know what Microsoft's going to do at all other than buy a bunch of studios and then maybe put out games. They like to buy things and not put stuff out, or at least good stuff.
They have been doing that. I think they're gonna step further towards their goal of like it's an ecosystem more than a console, and so you can like they're gonna push Game Pass much harder, and it's gonna be you can play your games on PC, you can play your games on Xbox, you can do whatever you want, but your Xbox is basically gonna be a thin client. Like it's you're just you have a tiny little Xbox. It might not even be super powerful. It's just gonna stream games to your TV, or you can avoid the hardware and just use your computer.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Switch 2.
Okay, so before we go,
Game time.
did tease a little game. It's not audio related, much to Joe's chagrin. I know he loves those audio guessing
So
games.
much.
But I did forget to fill the soundboard up with sound effects and stuff. So that's why we got Mario Kart tunes earlier. We'll find something appropriate for this. This game is very simple. It's called Game of the Years. I had asked you all to select a year between 1998 and 2023.
You made me select like 4 because they weren't good enough for you.
That's
what
true.
happened there? I'm just interested.
There were a couple of years in a row where they were. Let me explain the game first. So I have 5 different years, and then within that, the top 5 highest rated games according to Metacritic. And I'm going to ask you
Wait, was
to.
the game of the year not in the top 5?
What? No.
Oh.
They I don't know actually because the awards have only been around for a couple of years. I'm just going to ask you to pick the highest rated game of the year, which presumably you would think would be the game of the year.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of years in a row where it's like, oh, it's just the same sequels to every game that was from a previous year, so we're going to shake it up a little bit. True. So 5 years, 5 games, the top 5 highest rated games of the year. We're going to start all the way back, 1998. And these are listed alphabetically. I didn't want to tip my hand and write them in the order that'd be bad, right? So 1998, the top 5 highest rated games of the year: Half-Life, Gran Turismo, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid, Tekken. We go to Joe. If you had to guess one, game of the year.
And this is for the actual game of the year, not the
It's the highest rated.
Okay.
I don't think they had awards back then.
I'm going to go with Tekken.
Interesting choice. Drew?
Did you not read number 3?
I did.
I picked Tekken anyway.
Yeah, I want to... Look, there's a reason he's asking this question.
He's getting in my psyche here, yeah.
That's right.
Drew, what is your choice?
Can we just go to the next year? I'm so thrown right now. Triggered.
Triggered even.
Tekken. Say Tekken.
No, it's Zelda.
It is.
How could it not be Zelda?
Absolutely. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which I do believe is the highest rated game of all time on Metacritic, so there's that.
I got a 40 out of 40 from Famitsu, and then there weren't, like, this was pre.com era, so, like, who were the reviews? Magazines?
Probably. Yeah. All right, we're going to jump ahead to the year 2009. Top 5 games rated on Metacritic that year were Call
Double
of Duty,
Dragon.
Modern Warfare 2. Can't believe this is here. Flipnote Studio. Sure. Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, Street Fighter 4, Uncharted 2. We'll go to Drew this time since he got it right.
I hope Call of Duty is not the winner, but I'm going to go Uncharted 2.
Joe?
If you're taking Uncharted, then I'm going to go with Call of Duty because I was between the two.
What is this? Just you're going to try and ratio your odds here?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Drew wins because it was Uncharted 2. But Call of Duty was right up there.
The biggest game for years, it felt like.
Still is somehow. All right, we're jumping ahead even further.
Another remake this year, right? Or no, 3 years this year.
Yeah, but all the multiplayer maps are remakes of older maps. Anyway, jumping ahead to 2013, your top 5 highest rated games of the year: BioShock Infinite, Fire Emblem Awakening, The Last of Us, Rayman Legends, Super Mario 3D World. We'll go to Joe.
No, I'm going to go with The Last of Us.
Drew?
This is when we read this. I was saying Tom weeped for this game, Last of Us.
Yeah, it was The Last of Us. And apparently I did weep, and I don't recall that. But Drew is adamant that I called him sobbing over the opening hour of the game. I'm not denying it. I'm just saying I don't have any recollection of it. Clearly, it's deeply rooted in my psyche, and I need to...
It's completely bombed after that.
You just walled it off. Like, you don't want to revisit it.
Yep, that's
It's right in the
exactly,
vault.
that's exactly it. All right, we're going to rewind the clock a little bit. 2006... Top 5 highest rated games of the year: Company of Heroes, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Gears of War, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Metal Gear Solid 3. This is actually a pretty good list.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Who are you throwing to?
Yeah, we both.
Oh, I'll throw it. Well, you both got it right last time, so I'll throw it to Joe.
All right. I'm going to say Gears of War. Unless we're doing the It's Zelda thing again.
See, I must have misread too. It's Oblivion.
Really? It is surprisingly The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So we are doing that Zelda thing.
It's funny because
again.
Elder Scrolls has a Game of the Year edition. Oblivion has a Game of the Year
Like
edition.
every
Yes, it
game
does.
has a the Game of the Year edition.
Right.
There's so many games that do.
Twilight Princess was good, but it was the end of the GameCube era, right?
It was
Yeah.
one of those launch games on Wii too. Yeah, and I think that's a game that is starting to come back in vogue a little bit here, as they talk about ports for that and Wind Waker for next year. So
Can we just own every single Zelda redone on Switch?
I'm down with that. Sounds good.
Do we
Let's
want
it.
them on Switch, or do we want to hold out for the next console since we know it's coming soon?
Well, they're not.
If they don't make Switch 2 backwards compatible, they are the dumbest company ever.
They do have very odd decisions.
They do.
We'll see. All right, last one. I think you guys are actually doing quite well. We're 2 for 2, so this, or 2 and 2. So this is
This last one's
this
tough.
the last one. All right, 2020, rough year. Demon Souls, Half-Life Alyx, Last of Us Part 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Persona 5 Royal.
I'm going to go with the crazy fans and say it was Flight Sim.
Flight Sim was pretty good, actually. I played it. Didn't know how to fly a plane. I crashed a lot, but got to fly over my childhood house. That was kind of cool.
Nice. Did you crash into it? Did you like Donnie
Nearby,
Darko
I
it?
tried to. I couldn't circle that fast.
I know what I think was the best game.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
But I don't know how many people actually played it.
Ah, so I know where you're headed. I know where you're thinking then.
But I don't know if that would be considered a Game of the Year.
Well, remember, this is according to Metacritic, so it's just the highest rated. So
Oh,
it might not
okay.
necessarily even be Game of the Year.
But the Game of the Year is in here, right?
No, as I said at the start of the game, these are the top 5 highest rated games of their respective year.
But we're picking Game of the Year, and you're saying there's a possibility it's not in there.
Well, in 2020, there was an actual awards show, so I don't know what won at the Jeff Keighley Awards ceremony.
I'm going with what I don't like, but Last of Us Part 2. I want it to be Half-Life Alyx, but
What if I told you it was neither of those?
really?
Yeah.
So is it my game? No, it's got to be your game.
Persona 5 Royal was
Yeah,
the
it's your-
highest rated
your
game
game.
of 2020. Yeah.
Damn
Crazy,
Flight
right?
Sim.
Yeah, my game would be Demon Souls because I played
Well,
it.
because you're a masochist.
But
That's
it's also
right.
it's also a remake, so like for a remake to win Game of the Year, that would be like a kick in the.
Well, they've been nominated the last 2. I think Resident Evil 4 was up for Game of the Year this year. All right, well, that's going to do it, I think, for our show, our very long show today. I want to thank Joe and Drew for making a large chunk of time out of their weekend to come up and hang and talk some games and recap 2023. We're going to hope that 2023 has been good to you. I feel like it's been good to us, and we're going to hope that 2024 is just as good, and we'll see you, man, next year.
Next year.
Happy
right.
New Year, level 31 gamers.
That's right. Happy New Year to everyone. Enjoy the holiday. See you next year.
Happy New Year.